With the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 coming out soon, I wanted to talk about how Solid Snake became a favorite of mine in the plethora of video game characters that I've played in my life. I will be avoiding major spoilers so that new fans of the franchise can experience the character's growth and story as much as possible. Metal Gear came out in 1987 on the MSX computer. As of 2023, that's 36 years of history right there. My journey with the franchise didn't start with that title though. It started before I even played the games. The foundation for my love of Solid Snake lies with three characters: Boba Fett from Star Wars, Kyle Reese from The Terminator, and Michael Wincott's character, Frank Elgin from Alien Resurrection.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Boba Fett's original raspy voice was intimidating, but intriguing. This character gave me a love for the raspy-voiced mercenaries in fiction. The second piece of the formula was Kyle Reese. His heroic fighting against the Terminator and large battle tanks in a horrific future ring familiar to many Metal Gear fans. The final piece of the puzzle was the space pirate captain from Alien Resurrection, played by Michael Wincott. He had a raspy voice, lecherous attitude, and died way too early in my opinion. I wanted to see more of that character. I feel like there was potential for a bigger story within that film for him.
It's a military operation.
Really? Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that most Army medical labs don't have to operate outside of regulated space.
What do you want, Elgin? What can I do for you?
2005 rolls around, the same year that the game took place. I was over at a mom's friend's house, and their kid had a PlayStation 1. I don't remember any of the other games that they had, but one did catch my attention: Metal Gear Solid. I opened up the game case and took out the manual to read it. The 2 discs that the original game came with was an interesting concept to me at the time. I also learned that this wasn't the first game, but the third one. This blew my 10-year-old mind. There were 2 previous adventures that predate this game. There was an interesting assortment of weapons listed in the manual, and the artwork for the characters was really nifty. I popped the first disc in and was ready for this cool-looking game. Snake's voice was really awesome, and when he unmasks his low-polygon model reminded me of the cool pirate captain from Alien Resurrection. The way that Snake talked gave off the impression that he was no rookie. There was only one problem. I learned that this was a stealth game. Punching the enemies didn't keep them down for very long. I died a few times and finally learned to sneak around. I expected to get a gun after getting on the elevator, but was greeted with long cutscenes and the need to do more sneaking. Snake flirting with the British doctor and Chinese radio specialist was spicy to kid me, but that didn't keep my interest.
What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
I turned off the game and did something else. I had an aversion to stealth games at the time due to wanting to just fight my way through, and not being very good at that either. I also didn't have a memory card available, so I didn't bother saving. A few years would pass and Super Smash Bros. Brawl would release.
It's waiting, huh?
Snake was revealed to be one of the fighters. I was intrigued by his inclusion in the game. My previous main was Link, but I picked up Snake to see how he played. It was like a duck to water for me. Rocket launchers, punches, and kicks were my best friends. One of my best friends from middle school, at the time, told me to get into the series. And if there's one thing about me, I hate being told what to do. This pushed me away from liking the franchise for the most part. The other aspect was my experience with the game 3 years before. At the time, I preferred to brute force my way through things. Stealth was optional.
It's showtime.
2 years later, a neighbor was selling old PlayStation games. I had the choice of either Resident Evil 3 Nemesis or MGS1. I chose MGS1. I didn't have a PS1 memory card at the time for my PS2, so I had to wait until the next day for a memory card. Once that was taken care of, I re-began my journey with Metal Gear Solid. Snake's story really struck a nerve for me. Aside from his cool voice and appearance, he was a human being underneath it all. Many of his enemies tried to dehumanize him because of his genetic history, but he didn't care. Snake was a man who kept pushing himself even when things seemed to be totally lost.
Oh, just what I'd expect from the legendary Solid Snake. You trying to sweep me off my feet?
Don't worry, you'll land back on them once you meet me. The reality is no match for the legend, I'm afraid.
Oh, I don't believe that.
He denied being a hero, but he still fought to the bitter end with crazy odds. Snake may not have started as a hero, but he became one by the end. He's just too humble and self-aware of his own faults to ever see himself as one, though. I realized why Snake was an appealing character. So many could relate to him for one reason or another. I could relate to him because I viewed my life as being shackled to my genes. I used to have a really bad anger problem. Seeing Snake overcome the odds of his genes and showing that he was a man underneath it all, it motivated me to be better myself.
No, don't touch it!
C4.
With this newfound love for the character in game, I initially did not want to get into the rest of the franchise. I felt that I was satisfied with seeing Snake's story play out in MGS1. Little did I know that MGS3 would change my mind. Snake's journey was far from over for me. The following year, after getting MGS3 as a birthday gift, I got my hands on a copy of MGS2 and continued the story. This is before the HD collection had come out. The darkness inside of Snake was used by him to fuel the fire for a brighter future, a future that he could leave behind for the next generation. I would go into more details, but just in case you haven't played the franchise, then I recommend you pick up the Master Collection and experience Solid Snake's journey yourself.
This is the greatest handgun ever made. The Colt Single Action Army. 6 bullets, more than enough to kill anything that moves. Now I'll show you why they call me Revolver.